Joe Ryan with an absolute gem on the mound. Twins sorely needed that one in the worst way. They snap out of this funk for now. Anyways, final score 2-0 tonight versus the Mariners. Full deep dive coming up next. Minnesota Twins postcast.
This is the Twins postcast. Your instant game reaction for the Minnesota Twins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Minnesota Twins postcast right here at the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Main man with me, CJ Baumgartner. Give him a follow on X at BaumCJ30. Twins expert over at Zone Coverage. MN, by the way. Breaking news. Timberwolves with the 17th pick take a center from France. Your thoughts?
One French center to another, it's just a tradition unlike any other.
Circle of life, man. Just watched Lion King the other day with the kiddos. Circle of life. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into some Minnesota Twins action. Joe Ryan, we'll talk about that. Just a fantastic performance, much needed from the starting pitching, the entire pitching crew. For that matter. Plus the biggest turning point. We'll hand out a game MVP award as well. But first, quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Game Time. Game Time, download that Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Quick little recap. Never want to call them a boring game by any means. Just not a ton of action, but Twins-Mariners game 3 of 4. Joe Ryan on the mound. Again, exactly what the doctor ordered from these starters lately. 6 shutout innings, a 3-hitter, 8 Ks, no walks. I mean, he was pretty much flawless. Willie Castro knocks in Buxton in the 6th. Cody Clemens hits a solo shot in the 7th. And from there, Twins never looked back. Relievers were dominant. Dominance by the pitching staff tonight all the way around. 2-0. That's your final. 38-41 now on the year, and a much, much, much needed victory from a team that's just been in a total free fall, total spiraling downwards. Biggest takeaways, 8 topics. I guess what stuck out the most today?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it all the time. The starting pitchers need to be able to give their teams a chance to win. And for a lot of times throughout the last 3 weeks, they just didn't do that. Blow-up start after blow-up start. And you got 6 shutout innings from Joe Ryan when the team really needed it. Not only that, he was able to get a lot of strikeouts, was able to keep a lot of runners off the base pads. And overall, Pablo Lopez isn't in this rotation right now. So there is no quote unquote stopper. Somebody who, when your team is in a skid, who's the guy that's going to pitch well enough to get you out of that, to stop that slide. And for right now, for the Twins, it is Joe Ryan. And he stepped up and did that today and put his team in a chance to win. So really a lot of this is just a really good job by Joe Ryan setting things up for his team to be in a position to win.
I don't want to zigzag back and forth, but my Wolves postcast co-host, my guy Jack Borman, just texted me. We took a younger, more athletic Rudy Gobert with higher potential. He reminds me of me growing up. Every time the Vikings took anybody, I was just automatically optimistic. Like, Christian Ponder, oh man, I looked at the mocks, like, it's supposed to be second round, but who knows in this system, man, watch out. Who knows? We got our guys. So you never know. NBA draft, especially, I'm a big NFL draft guy. NBA draft, total crapshoot once you get past those first 5 picks. Let's get into our biggest turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Sometimes on nights, these turning points are pretty obvious. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're a little bit layered throughout the game that you may have missed. So tonight's biggest turning point, when was it and why?
Well, I think really it was just the fact that the Castro are able to score Buxton to give the Twins a 1-0 lead. I know Cody Clemens added on with the solo homer later to give the Twins an insurance run. That was important. But in a game like this where, George Kirby threw really well for Seattle as well. When you have Kirby and Ryan going back and forth, it's kind of just whichever team is able to squeak past a run first, typically is able to kind of run away with the game. And it was a great at-bat by Willie Castro. Fouled off pitch after pitch, took hard, ones that were right off the plate, was able to put himself in a position to get a sinker that he could get the bat around, and was able to hit it into left field. Buxton on second base running with 2 outs is going to score automatically on that bleeder through the right side. So it was just a great at-bat by Willie Castro to give his team the lead. And when that happened, it just felt like, not that they were in an automatic position to win the game, but just the way that this game was flowing and heading, it just felt like it was going to be a low scoring, grinded out kind of game. And the Twins were able to score first, and that was huge for them.
Does it move the needle at all? Like, just how infused, I guess, with some energy, some optimism, maybe, are you now tonight? Again, we're recording 5 minutes after this game ended, so try not to be a prisoner of the moment. But just after watching Joe Ryan out there tonight, just seeing it for the first time, because it's been so long having a starter for the Twins go out there and just dominate the way we were kind of used to seeing now for a while. Does it move the needle at all for you, or is that not even really possible when we're taking things one game at a time in a 162 game season?
They're winning 15 in a row. Season's back on. Everything.
Let's go, baby. Get the summer sausage back out. Get the rally cap. We're back.
No, I mean, in all seriousness, though, I mean, it doesn't necessarily rally the troops, but it does just kind of stop that feeling of free fall. Just you're able to catch your breath. It's just like you're able to just let everything pause for a moment. All the losses that kind of have wrapped up in the last week, you just go, okay, we got to win. It wasn't like a slug it out game in Cincinnati like it was a week ago. Got a nice win against a nice team. Let's go get a win tomorrow afternoon. Let's split the series and we'll call it good and try and kind of pick things back up from here. It's not that this is necessarily kind of the runway to a big hot stretch, but what it does do is it kind of just it has an opportunity to stack a few wins on top of each other in the next few days and just kind of try and wash the taste out of your mouth that's been the last 3 weeks. It's not necessarily as much of a rally starter, but more of just a palate cleanser, if you will.
Plenty more deep dive from this one. Let's hand out our MVP from tonight. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the MLB. Right now, FanDuel is giving you a chance at a huge return, $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. Why I love FanDuel? When you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you go check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play all on the same page where you place your bets. Again, $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com. Get in some MLB future action if you dare. Twins plus 650 right now to win the AL Central. It's all sitting up over at FanDuel.com. Again, check it all out over at FanDuel.com and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the MLB. All right, let's get into, it's been a while. I got to dust off the graphic here. It's been a while. Let's get into our game MVP.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
All right, your MVP from tonight. Who is it and why?
I mean, it's got to be Joe Ryan, just for the fact that he put the Twins in a position to win 6 shutout innings in a game when you really needed it. He was able to get the strikeouts when he needed to, finish with 8 of them on the evening. So overall, just you got to give it to Joe Ryan for putting the team on his back today and giving them a chance to win.
The Athletic, don't know if you saw it, just came out with a trade deadline piece 1.0. So they know it's early. They're calling themselves out. Like, we're probably going to do 4 or 5 more of these, but kind of ranking each team in a tier of whether they should be buyers or sellers. They happen to clump the Twins, Guardians, and Royals all into their own tier, all into their own group, tier 5. It just happened to be just because it's so hard. It's such a mess to figure out what's going on right now with all 3 of these teams. I know if you look at FanGraphs right now, the Twins have a 21% chance of making the postseason, which seems kind of low for being 3 games out of the wild card spot right now. But nonetheless, rank those 3 teams as you know, buyers, sellers, or kind of standing pat best you can, just knowing how early it is. Just try to take a stab.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, if you look at teams, I know Cleveland right now is ahead of the Twins and the Royals in the standings, I believe, at this point. So you probably just got to rank it based off that point, Cleveland, and then probably Kansas City, and then the Twins 3. And it's not so much about the Twins' odds against those 3 teams, but I think you can really lump the Twins and Guardians together even if they feel like they are in a position at the deadline, or kind of like maybe they're a game out of a wild card spot or a couple games back, it doesn't really feel like either team is going to necessarily go out and get a big addition at the trade deadline, just knowing the ownership situations of both of these teams, they're probably going to stand pat and not sell. I think the Royals have a chance to be a buyer more than any of those teams because in the last couple of years, their ownership and their kind of front offices have been a little bit more aggressive in that regard. Again, anything is possible, but I just think based on the Guardians never do anything, relatively speaking, especially not if they're not in a great position to win. And the Twins, again, with the poll ads and the payroll situation and everything going on, their status kind of with what's available to them at the trade deadline is still pretty unclear, even if they're in a position to win.
Yeah, well said there. And I agree. I will say, watching baseball year after year, there's going to be a lot of twists and turns these next few months, especially when it comes to this AL wildcard race. And it's conceivable that, one of these teams could be a buyer. They could get hot, be a buyer. Another team could get cold, be a seller. And then one team, probably the Twins, if I'm putting money on it, would probably try to thread the needle a little bit there and stand pat and just roll with what they got. But let's say the Twins do try to make a trade. Their biggest three needs in order would be what?
Well, right now, you could probably say starting pitching depth if they want to go out and trade, just to get another veteran in this mix. If you don't necessarily trust a Simeon Woods Richardson or a David Festa quite yet, that you want to just get a guy who can be a back end of the rotation starter. That's number one. You could always look for the Twins when you look at, another reliever. You can always throw in kind of another top of the kind of pecking order in terms of relievers. You can never have enough of them. So that's probably number two. And the lineup is coming around. They've been doing a much better job of hitting, but I think you could always look for another kind of DH/first base kind of bat. Not that Ty France necessarily needs to be replaced immediately, but I think if you're looking at a position that you could easily upgrade, it's probably either that first base/DH kind of corner outfield. You kind of can pair that position all together into one, but just some kind of big bat that you can add into the order that kind of fills one of those spots, I think is kind of the top three needs that the Twins are looking for right now.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Up on the Athletic, they have the team needs, three of them. Twins, they got starting pitching, DH, and infield. So pretty much spot on for the most part. Nerdy stat of the daytime. You got any crazy stat or, fun analytic, I guess, Twins related?
Yeah, let's keep things Joe Ryan related here. So Joe Ryan has really relied more on the fastball this season than he has in any other year of his career. And he's a pretty fastball reliant pitcher as is. 24.1% of his put away pitches. So when you need an end of at bat, what's your pitch? It's been 24.1% on fastballs this season. That's the best of his career on that pitch. So he's really been, that fastball's grooving.
Love that. Love to hear that for sure. Don't go anywhere. Preview Game 4 tomorrow. Simeon Woods Richardson on the mound. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 10 million members to date. For me and my money, I just swear by it. It's the easiest, most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. So simple, too. All you got to do, you pick more or less on two or more players' stats. You watch the winnings roll in. Could be home runs, stolen bases, strikeouts, RBIs, you name it. They got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly with any $5 wager. All right, Game 4 tomorrow. First pitch, 12:10. Trying to walk away with a split here, I guess. This would be the first series in 6 series, I guess, if they can win this one, that they wouldn't come away a loser in that series. Simeon Woods Richardson back on the mound. How do you keep the momentum rolling, man? How do you snap back into this thing and go, rip off a couple wins in a row?
Yeah, I mean, with Simeon Woods Richardson on the mound, you're probably not going to be getting a start like the Twins got from Joe Ryan today of 6 shutout innings. But if you're Simeon Woods Richardson, can you get through the first trip through the lineup unscathed without giving up a run? Can you just give yourself, 3, 4, if you can go 4 innings as Simeon Woods Richardson shutout or under 1 run, one run or less, I should say, that is probably your best case scenario. And if you're Simeon Woods Richardson and can just get through the lineup through the first, 1.5 times relatively unscathed without blowing up, then it's on the offense to be able, they got to hang a crooked number up early just to kind of give them a little run support, give them a little confidence, and try and have the Twins split this series. And like you said, not lose the series for the first time since June 4th.
Twins back on the board after losing 10 of 11. They finally get a much needed W thanks to Joe Ryan's gem on the mound. 2-0. That's your final. 38-42 now, back to 4 games below 500. Huge shout out to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys coming in the chat with us from game to game. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out all of CJ's work on X at BombCJ30 plus. All the work he's always ripping up over at zonecoveragemn.com as well. Anything new as of late I can go check out? Haven't asked you in a while.
Yeah, there's a couple things. I got something coming out soon about Bailey Ober, kind of talking about his struggles and what he's got to do to pick himself back up and things like that. That's coming out soon, just kind of finishing up on that one as we speak. But last week, had a piece coming out about Cody Clemens and kind of what his struggles were and kind of the 3-week run he had compared to kind of the last few weeks, which hadn't been so great. And by the way, since that piece came out, he set like 3 home runs. So he's cracked the code. I guess he's taking
keep that in the drafts. Yeah, keep that in the drafts, I guess.
Exactly.
Game 4 tomorrow.
Criticizing a play.
That's all I'll take. The reverse jinx, we call that. Game 4 tomorrow, 12:10 first pitch. We got an afternoon game. Watch out for that rain, by the way. Simeon Woods Richardson on the mound. Catch you right here. Same time, same place. Until then, sign it.